Welcome to LFC Transfer HQ, your ultimate source for all things Liverpool FC transfers. Like and subscribe for more football updates. Our first news is Liverpool transfer news. Alexander Isak ultimatum issued after twist in Marc Guehi pursuit. Liverpool are running out of time to land Newcastle striker Alexander Isak and Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi as the summer transfer window nears its conclusion. The summer transfer window is nearing the end, and despite spending big, Liverpool are not done yet. Arne Slot's side have splashed over £300 million to sign Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Giovanni Leone, Armin Pesce and Freddie Woodman. But the Reds are still actively pursuing more deals in the closing stages of the window. Sporting director Richard Hughes has been a busy man after Fenway Sports Group greenlight a recruitment drive in an attempt to defend their Premier League title. Despite breaking their transfer record for Wirtz, there could be an even bigger deal still on the cards. Here Mirror Football takes a look at the latest news from Anfield and beyond. Time is running out for Liverpool to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle before the transfer window closes. The Reds have not made a move since their opening £110 million offer was rejected by the Magpies at the start of the month. And while Isak wants to make the move, it is not simple. The Chronicle reports that Newcastle will sell Isak, but only if they can sign a replacement in time and Liverpool meet their £150 million valuation. Eddie Howe's side are reportedly expecting a second bid to arrive before the window closes on September 1st, but it seems there are still many variables at play. Newcastle have been chasing Brentford's Jon Wissa and were also linked with Wolves' Jørgen Strand Larsen, although their £60 million valuation of the Norwegian has put the Magpies off. The other long-running interest Liverpool have is in Crystal Palace star Marc Guehi, and that is also yet to be resolved. Palace won't sell their captain before the second leg of their Conference League play-off against Fredrikstad on Thursday, but chairman Steve Parish has made it clear they will do business for the right price, because they don't want to lose him for nothing next summer when his contract expires. The Daily Star has reported that Manchester City could rival Liverpool for Guehi, if they lose Manuel Akanji and Nathan Ake in the coming days. But there is better news from South London, with Palace reportedly lining up a move for Toulouse defender JD Canvet as a replacement for Guehi. Canvet will cost €20 million, £18 million, and the 19-year-old has also attracted interest from Aston Villa. If that deal gets over the line, then Palace may be happier with their decision to sell Guehi. They have previously insisted on £45 million, while Liverpool have said they won't go above £35 million. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe. Our second news is Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer advances as huge bid made for striker. Newcastle United's initial offer for Wolverhampton Wanderers forward Jørgen Strand Larsen has been turned down as the Magpies intensify their pursuit of strikers ahead of the summer transfer window deadline. On Thursday, it was revealed that Newcastle had set their sights on the Norwegian international after failing to secure a series of other forwards. The club are growing increasingly desperate for a striker following João Pedro and Liam Delap's move to Chelsea, Hugo Ekitike's signing with Liverpool, and Benjamin Sesko's choice to join Manchester United. The Magpies lost Callum Wilson to West Ham on a free transfer, while Alexander Isak is currently refusing to play for the club in hopes of a move to Liverpool. Manager Eddie Howe was left with no choice but to field Anthony Gordon as the main attacker and urgently needs additional players before the window shuts on September 1st. Newcastle have been pursuing Jon Wissa, but Brentford have rejected two offers, the most recent being worth £40 million. They have now encountered similar resistance from Wolves, who have declined a £50 million bid for Strand Larsen. Wolves do not consider him available at any price. Strand Larsen is not actively seeking a transfer either, but reportedly agreed personal terms with Newcastle last week. This situation is crucial for Isak's aspirations of securing a move to Liverpool. If they are to allow the Swedish player to leave, Newcastle must sign two strikers, but so far, they have been met with disappointment at every turn. Liverpool witnessed a £110 million bid turned down by Newcastle at the beginning of August and have yet to return with a fresh proposal. The Magpies place Isak's worth at £150 million but would only consider selling if they secure suitable replacements. Strand Larsen only became a permanent Wolves player this summer from Celta Vigo after the club paid £23 million, following an initial £2.5 million loan last year. He carries a £60 million valuation after netting 14 Premier League goals across 35 appearances last season, though it remains unclear whether they would consider cashing in on their primary striker so deep into the window. Wolves manager Vitor Pereira is reluctant to part with Strand Larsen, who has featured in both Premier League fixtures this campaign. "He's a very important player for us. I never talk with him about it. He's our player," he stated. "When I watch him on the training, he's committed with everybody, committed with the team. He's a fighter. He likes to win. He's preparing himself to play tomorrow." The situation mirrors that at Brentford, where boss Keith Andrews is determined to retain Wissa. "What goes on is going on at every single club I imagine, up and down the land, the disruptive nature of it. But the focus is on the group tomorrow," he remarked on Monday. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our third news is Liverpool transfer news as Alexander Isak talks held and Rodrygo stance made clear. Liverpool dramatically lost a 2-goal lead against Newcastle United only for 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha to pop up with a late winner, and the two clubs could be written about plenty for different reasons this week. There are now only 6 days remaining of the transfer window, with Alexander Isak, for now at least, still a Newcastle player. The Magpies have failed with an opening bid for Jørgen Strand Larsen and their next steps remain to be seen. The clock is ticking, though. Liverpool needs to bring in another attacker. Ngumoha saved the Reds this week and Federico Chiesa last, but that won't always be the case. Here is the Liverpool.com verdict on the transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds today. The clock is ticking, though. Liverpool needs to bring in another attacker. Ngumoha saved the Reds this week and Federico Chiesa last, but that won't always be the case. Here is the Liverpool.com verdict on the transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds today. Newcastle's owners held talks with Isak about his future before Liverpool won 3-2 at St James Park with a late goal from Rio Ngumoha, according to the Daily Mail. But Eddie Howe didn't feel in a position to comment on the situation during his post-match press conference. The Newcastle manager said he was not aware of the content of any conversations that might have taken place. "I am not party to the talks that have been happening, so I have no idea where that stands at this second," he said. "We want clarity, we want to move forward, we want the narrative to change." Liverpool's home and away strips for the 2025-26 season are the first in their new partnership with Adidas. Fans can order jerseys in the US at fanatics.com or via the LFC online store in both the US and across the world. Newcastle is expected to go back in with a second bid for Wolves striker Jørgen Strand Larsen in the coming days. The Magpies saw an initial offer worth around $68 million, £50 million, knocked back on Monday. Strand Larsen would not be a direct replacement for Isak, but he could be part one of a softening of the stance on the Swede if it gets done. Someone else, like Brentford's Yoane Wissa, would have to come in on top of that. Rodrygo, Real Madrid. Liverpool has been linked with the Real Madrid forward Rodrygo at times this summer, but Los Blancos boss Xabi Alonso says the Brazilian still has a role to play for his side this season. Rodrygo was left on the bench on match week 1, missing out entirely as Real Madrid beat Osasuna by 1-0. In its second La Liga fixture, Alonso's team won 3-0 against Real Oviedo, with Rodrygo in the starting 11. The winger played the first 63 minutes of the game before he was swapped out for Vinicius Jr. His Brazilian teammates scored and assisted to secure the points for his team. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our fourth news is Liverpool's newest hero pales Alexander Isak saga into insignificance on unforgettable night. Newcastle 2-3 Liverpool. Rio Ngumoha became Liverpool's youngest ever Premier League goalscorer as the 16-year-old scored a dramatic late winner against Newcastle. There have been some epic encounters between these two in recent times. But this will go down in football folklore as an all-time, unforgettable Premier League classic. The red-hot atmosphere in St James's Park produced an incredible roller coaster of drama, all decided by a 16-year-old, the youngest hero and goalscorer in Liverpool's history. Liverpool super sub Rio Ngumoha, who does not turn 17 until Friday, grabbed the 110th minute winner to send Arne Slot, his players, and the travelling fans wild. What an incredible conclusion to a real blood and thunder night which swung this way and that and owed so much to the bravery and heart of Newcastle's heroic 10-man effort. Newcastle forward Anthony Gordon was sent off just before half-time after losing his head as he raked his studs down Virgil van Dijk's ankle. At that stage, Newcastle were already 1-0 down and now down to 10 men. When Hugo Ekitike made it 2-0 23 seconds into the second half, it looked like a lost cause for Newcastle. But that would be writing off the passion and determination in St James's Park, and this was a night when the crowd carried the team, together with a brilliant captain's performance from Bruno Guimaraes, to an incredible fightback that we thought it would be Will Osula who would be the hero for his 88th minute equalizer, but the story still had another amazing chapter. And to think, this was all built as the Alexander Isak grudge clash after the transfer saga of the summer. Alex who? Honestly, by the end, no one was talking about him. It was all about the glory of the game, the heroes, the crowd, and the fightback. What an astonishing match. If there is a better game all season, then it will have to be something special. It also underlined the character and fight of Slot's champions as they are determined to fight to hold on to their Premier League crown. They still have flaws and weaknesses. Ibrahima Konate had another shaky night, and they still look a work in progress. But they will take some stopping this season. Liverpool had to survive a red-hot start, and few deserve more credit than Dominic Szoboszlai, who filled in bravely at right-back and gave everything. They hung on and then took the lead against the run of play. Ryan Gravenberch's low shot took a deflection off Fabian Schär's foot and crept inside Nick Pope's post. Gordon got his marching orders after referee Simon Hooper checked his VR screen, and it was all against Newcastle. It got even worse when Ekitike, the French striker who turned down Newcastle to join Liverpool, raced across the opposition box before unleashing a low shot which made it 2-0. But Newcastle roared back. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our fifth news is Liverpool shortcoming highlighted as Hugo Ekitike decision speaks volumes about transfer stance. It's one of the curios of this fixture that Liverpool have been unable to field arguably their first-choice defence in 8 years, with Jeremy Frimpong absent. That trend continued here. So too the issues the Reds seem to have at right-back against Newcastle, such as their most recent clash in the League Cup final when Jarell Quansah was pressed into service in the role. The onus this time fell on Dominic Szoboszlai, with neither Connor Bradley nor Joe Gomez deemed able to start. While Szoboszlai's versatility was evident during pre-season when occasionally featuring at right-back, the white-hot atmosphere of St James Park and direct running of Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon offered a significant step up in class. But as has often been the case since arriving at Liverpool in the summer of 2023, the Hungary international embraced the responsibility and was an impressive performer in the unaccustomed position, his work rate infectious. Elsewhere in the rearguard, Virgil van Dijk's aerial dominance and the composure of Alisson Becker were important in quelling at least in part the relentless barrage of throw-ins and set-pieces lumped into Liverpool's box by Newcastle. However, another dismal showing from Ibrahima Konate served only to increase the intrigue over the Reds' interest in Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi. Konate is becoming a major concern. Gravenberch highlights shortcoming. So continues the wait for Liverpool's midfield linchpins to be reunited. Not since the Premier League title was secured with victory against Tottenham Hotspur back in April have Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis Mac Allister started in the same team. While Gravenberch, a big miss last week against Bournemouth, was back from suspension at Newcastle, the absence of Mac Allister with a minor injury issue will be a worry given the Argentina international has been troubled by a niggling problem for much of the calendar year. Gravenberch had a rare shocker during the eventful draw here last season, and that trend initially continued on his first appearance of the season, not helped by an early booking for a foul on Bruno Guimaraes as referee Simon Hooper struggled to control a feisty encounter. Liverpool's midfield, as at Wembley, were given the runaround by an abrasive Newcastle. But the moment that intensity dipped, so the Reds struck with their first concerted period of pressure as Gravenberch netted in off the post from 20 yards, that it was only his second-ever Premier League goal highlights an obvious area for improvement in his game. The Dutch international will improve on this performance, as too will Florian Wirtz, who found it difficult to influence such a chaotic evening. The visit of Arsenal on Sunday should give him a better opportunity to shine. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Our last news is Liverpool wonderkid Rio Ngumoha, 16, hits last-gasp winner in Newcastle thriller, 5 talking points. Newcastle 2-3 Liverpool. 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha comes off the bench to score in the 10th minute of added time as Arne Slot's side ride their luck to beat the 10-man Magpies. Rio Ngumoha came off the bench to score in the 100th minute as Liverpool somehow beat 10-man Newcastle in a drama-packed match at St James Park. The Alexander Isak transfer saga provided added intensity to the encounter at St James Park, and it certainly didn't disappoint in terms of feistiness before Ngumoha trumped Will Osula as a super sub. Newcastle dominated the opening 30 minutes but could not make it count as Gordon spurned 3 opportunities. Out of nowhere, they found themselves behind, with Ryan Gravenberch rifling in from the edge of the box via a deflection off Fabian Schär. Gordon then compounded his misses by flying in to try and charge down Virgil van Dijk, only to catch his calf with his studs. After a VAR review, referee Simon Hooper upgraded his yellow card to a red and left Newcastle with an uphill battle. It got harder when Hugo Ekitike found the bottom corner straight after the break to make it 2-0. Bruno Guimaraes took advantage of some weak defending by Milos Kerkez to head in and half the deficit. It looked as though that goal wasn't going to be enough, but Osula got on the end of a Dan Burn flick-on to beat Alisson at the near post. Then, out of nowhere once more, Liverpool went up the other end and Ngumoha tucked in Mohamed Salah's low cross to earn Liverpool 3 points that he wasn't playing. He wasn't even in the Newcastle squad. And yet he still dominated the narrative around this game. Alexander Isak has spent the past month trying to leave the Magpies for their opponents. So far he has been unsuccessful, but the timing of his game provided an intriguing narrative, and most definitely added to the atmosphere and intensity on the pitch. After he accused his employers of breaking promises, a banner in the stands read, "Nothing is achieved alone. We are a city. A whole population. We are Newcastle United." The message from the supporters was clear and, in the end, Osula summed up that ethos. Gordon was singled out for praise by Howe before kickoff, having filled in at centre-forward in the opening game of the season. But he endured an utterly miserable time against Liverpool, with his adrenaline to impress overriding everything else. He missed 3 decent chances in quick succession, heading over Harvey Barnes' cross, failing to get on the end of Anthony Elanga's cross and messing up a third opening, before the red card decision. Gordon was perhaps caught up in the occasion. He appeared desperate to please the supporters and charged after Van Dijk as he cleared the ball up the pitch, catching the Dutchman's calf with his studs. "He gets carried away with what's been happening," said Thierry Henry on Sky Sports. Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest Liverpool FC transfer news, rumors, and confirmed deals. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update, because at LFC Transfer HQ, you'll never walk alone.